Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Davis, and the gentleman from California, Mr. Panetta, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Illinois.
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days within which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the bill under consideration.
Without objection, so ordered.
And Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Madam Speaker, and my good friend and colleague, Mr. Panetta, from the great state of California, I rise in strong support as the author of H.R. 1029, the Pesticide Registration Enhancement Act of 2017, also known as PRIA. It's not every day in Washington that we see a bipartisan bill come to the House floor that is supported by both industry and environmental advocates. But PRIA is that bill, Madam Speaker. PRIA initially passed in 2003, establishing a new section of the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, or FIFRA, which put in place a fee schedule for registering pesticides with the EPA. More specifically, PRIA constructed timeframes for when the EPA was required to make a determination on pesticide registrations. The goal of PRIA was to create a more predictable and effective evaluation process for pesticide decision-making by coupling the collection of fees with specific decision review periods. It also promoted shorter decision review periods for reduced risk pesticides. The nature of PRIA is very technical, but the widespread benefits across industries has gained it consistent bipartisan support. PRIA is backed by a broad coalition comprised of the companies that rely on the registration process and also labor and environmental advocates. Each member of this broad coalition had a seat at the table when the Agricultural Committee held a roundtable discussing the merits of the bill last month before it passed unanimously out of our House Agriculture Committee. This reauthorization bill that we are considering also provides a few modifications, including reasonable increases in registration fees, funding for good laboratory practices, and added efforts to promote transparency. Although it's generally been a 5-year authorization, this bill would extend PRIA for 7 years. A lengthened reauthorization we believe is appropriate because PRIA has been proven effective. It has enjoyed widespread bipartisan support, and to date, each reauthorization has only involved minor adjustments. PRIA expires on September 30th of this year, and I'm glad to be presenting this bill well in advance of that expiration date because we need to provide folks with the certainty they need to conduct their business, educate farm workers, and keep the communication with the EPA open and transparent. This is the 4th time PRIA has come before Congress for reauthorization, and that is because it's working for everyone. It has always been a bipartisan effort. We hope to continue that tradition. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting this common sense reauthorization. And with that, Madam Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise in support of H.R. 1029, the Pesticide Registration Enhancement Act of 2017, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. Once again, Madam Speaker, I stand before you to urge the passage of H.R. 1029. As we know, the Environmental Protection Agency is responsible for regulating the sale, the use, and the distribution of pesticides. To facilitate and expedite that pesticide approval process, pesticide manufacturers have long supplemented the EPA's annual budget. This system allows the products to be reviewed in a timely manner without sacrificing environmental and safety protections. It is truly a win-win for both manufacturers and consumers. And, as you heard Mr. Davis speak about, it is a clear example of government at its best. It's exactly why I enjoy working on the Agricultural Committee. It's exactly why I enjoy working with people such as Rodney Davis. We have a bipartisan, effective, public-private legislative solution for a more predictable pesticide evaluation process that literally helps everybody. The Pesticide Registration Enhancement Act, H.R. 1029, is an exceptional piece of legislation, not only because it's supported by a unique coalition of pesticide registrants and environmental groups, and agriculture labor representatives. But H.R. 1029 provides a more effective, predictable, and transparent pesticide evaluation process. It promotes shorter review periods for reduced risk pesticides and enhances scientific and regulatory activities related to farm worker protection. My district on the Central Coast of California is not only bountiful in its agriculture, it is absolutely beautiful with its environment. Therefore, we on the Central Coast work hard to find that balance of being known as the salad bowl of the world and one of the most scenic places in the world. And that is why our agricultural producers are the most thoughtful stewards of the land and recognize the need to protect the environment and the natural resources. This legislation facilitates that balance. This legislation provides a unique coalition building experience and encourages the agricultural industry to work with environmentalists. Thus, H.R. 1029 helps all of us who live and work in our community and ultimately our country. That is why I am absolutely honored to speak in this debate, humbled to share the floor with Representative Davis, and why I urge all of my colleagues to support this bill. Thank you. I yield back.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Illinois.
Madam Speaker, this is exactly why we're here today in a bipartisan way. You know, my colleague, Mr. Panetta, said it right. This affects his industry, it affects his home area, as he likes to say, is the salad bowl of America. I've been there, and I've seen the crops you grow. And the crops I grow are much different in Central Illinois. The crops are grown by the farmers that I'm proud to represent. But they all have to have a successful PRIA reauthorization to be able to grow those foods that we here in America continue to feed the world with and that we see in our grocery stores and on our supermarket shelves. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say thank you because this bill is essential as we in Central Illinois go out and take care of things such as making sure the weeds don't pop up in our yards. Every single small business that decides to put down product and pesticides to ensure that lawns in Central Illinois continue to prosper as the spring and summer unfold, this is essential to their success. This is essential when our farmers who are looking to get their fields ready to go plant, the stewards of the land, the best stewards of the land, as Congressman Panetta said, it assures them that they're going to be able to get that seed into the ground, and with the hope and prayers of rain and moisture, that it's going to grow and that we're going to still have a marketplace for those products. The risk that our farmers take every single year when they risk and leverage their family incomes in many cases in hopes that a seed is going to grow and a plant's going to grow and they're going to be able to sell that, they need certainty that this bill will actually give them. That's why I'm proud to be here as the author, proud to stand with my colleagues. And before I yield back the balance of my time, I would like to ask that with unanimous consent to include a letter from the Honorable Greg Walden, Chairman of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, for the record.
Without objection.
And with that, Madam Speaker, as long as my colleague has yielded back, I will yield back too.
The gentleman has yielded back. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 1029 as amended? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on